Is Elon Musk right about the birth rate and the underpopulation? Now let's look at this article. This article shows that yes, the birth rate is declining. And so now the question is, does the decline of the birth rate really gonna affect, you know, the humanity of surviving? You know, well, in this article, it shows that Africa country still has high birth rate. For example, Nigeria still will have 5.15% of birth rate even until 2050. And most country does decline, but it will not collapse. It will remain a long time until it really gonna affect our species of humanity, right? But can we slow it down? Well, to know how to slow it down, we first must know why is the reason that the birth rate is declining. And so the first thing I want to talk about is living condition, right? So you can see in the previous article, African country does have high birth rate, but their condition is pretty bad. Living next to garbage dump without clean water and sufficient food, it is impossible to have like a satisfaction. And with lack of education, people don't understand the child development of a baby. Then on the other hand, in high educational country, live in poor condition, growing up realizing you couldn't support your child. According to the World Bank, in 2024, there is still 3.5 billion people, roughly 44% of the global population, remain poor by a standard that is more relevant for upper middle income country, which is $6.85 per day. And so if 44% of people are struggling financially, how will they give the child good education and good living condition? And if they think they cannot provide a good, support for their child, how can they, even giving birth, right? Even if you give birth, because they also know there is 3.7 million children live in institutional care globally. 80% of the child have living period, but due to poverty, disability, and couldn't have a stable supportment of their child. So the true argument is declining birth rate is not equal to fewer children needing care. And let's go to Asian country. For example, Seoul's house pricing up 90% since 2017. And 70% of Seoul Korean women quit job for post childbirth, and it's really affecting their working habit. And so not just African country, but also Asian country and all around the world. And another thing is parent education. There is a lot of bad education around the world that lead to bad mental state of the child. For example, there is 4 parenting style in psychology, and according to Diana Bramring theory, there's number 1, authoritative, with high warmth, high discipline, which has the best outcome. But most of the parents are either authoritarian with low warmth, high discipline, and likely to become anxiety disorder, or permissive parent style with high warmth, low discipline, and likely to lead to poor self-regulation. And number 4, neglectful parent style with low warmth and low discipline, and high risk of delinquency. And study shows that children who are authoritative parent has 40% lower rate on mental health issue, according to APA study. There are also Fred Psychology of 5 State And if 5 stage is not satisfied, they are not fully grown up. For example, in oral age, which is at 0 to 1 year old, and if they are not milked enough by the mother, they are not satisfied, which leads to unable to delay gratification. And when they grow up, they eating constantly, because they didn't have enough milk when they are young. And there's also Lacan's theory, and it's about the symbolic order structure of our reality. A child enters the order through parental guidance. Child development issue if parents fail to introduce boundaries, like discipline and neglect, the children may reject societal norms. Example, delinquent behavior in adult scenes, thief and violence as a rebellion against an absent symbolic order. There's also attachment theory, where children with insecure attachment are 2 times as high likely to develop anxiety disorder, according to NIH study. So there's so much study showing that parent style is affecting children's mental state. Like I said before, these bad parenting lead to this child also comes to a bad habit, bad condition, which lead to a bad circuit. And like I said before, children growing up realizing, they are having bad condition, right? And they are unable to change it, they will just not have kids, right? And so, is there a way we can help it? Well, there's 3 ways I think it will really beneficial. One is the benefit for giving birth. For example, in Finland, in 2017, UBI trial reduced parental stress and improved child well-being, and also working break with salary. And number 2 is parent teaching program. I do think that every parent should have studied child development program before giving birth. And number 3 is mental health support network, right? If the condition is unable to change, at least we could provide some program and agency that could help child with poor state.